Hello and welcome to Stampscaping 101. On this video I was going to go in and start coloring some of my imagery using pens to get some variation within the imagery impressions itself instead of doing it in a monochromatic way. The easiest way to do that is to use markers because you can go in and color little bits and pieces for the areas that you want as opposed to trying to use a big wide surface like that would be on a pad. The pens that I've come to use over the years are the Marvy brush markers just because they're so wide in the tip and they hold so much ink, and as a result you can get a lot of coverage using these pens right here. But I started playing around with some of my pens and I noticed they were pretty dry. I haven't used some of these in quite a while, so I don't know, like this one right here. This is a manganese blue, and it's, I mean, if I can really scrub down, I can get some ink flowing out of there, but otherwise it's fairly dry. So I thought I would do a quick video on the re-inking of these pens right here, if you just so happen to have some of these. These are the Marvy brush markers. This is kind of the older style of packaging, just with the barrel completely color-coded. These ones have the black, more kind of a graphic look to them, which is with the caps on there. So, anyways, the Marvy matchable pads are called matchable because they match the colors of the pens. They don't have the entire range of pen colors available in pad form, the matchable pad form. I think at this time there's still probably about 40 different pads out there, and if you happen to have the re-inkers for the pad, since these have the same colors, you can also re-ink the pens. And the way you do that, let me see if I can open the back of this without a pair of pliers. This thing comes right out the back. And what you have in here is this little, it's almost like a straw. It feels like a plastic straw with the felt down the center. Take your re-inker fluid and, depending on how much you use your pens, would depend on how much you how much re-inker fluid you put down here. If I don't use a certain color too much, I probably won't re-ink so much. But I know now this is a really dark color, and I'm guessing this video probably isn't picking this up at all, but there's a little bit of a variation in value here. I can see that has soaked down to about that length of the cartridge or whatnot. And I'm going to put this right back in here. Now, through absorption and capillary action, the tip here will eventually reinvigorate with that ink. I would probably store it tip down, and it would probably be ready to go in, I don't know, an hour, but I don't know, I don't have that amount of time here on this video, so let me just give it a head start. I'll put a little bit of ink right on the tip itself, and that's absorbing right in there. As that brown ink was pretty dry, this brown pad. Oops. And you get that going, and you have a brand new pen for the most part. The tip's a little bit worn out and whatnot, but you have a new color that's ready to go. Alright, now this is another color that I really used to love in pen form. It's manganese blue. Now this blue is not available in pad form. If it was, I think it would be my favorite blue pad out of any line. I just always loved the manganese blue because it was so light and bright. It was such a crystalline blue color, and it worked really great for water, any kind of body of water that I was doing, clouds and sky and whatnot. But I don't, like I said, it doesn't come in pad form. Now this is a salvia blue, and they do have that one in pad form. which is this color. It's a little bit slightly more grayish blue, I would say. Not quite as intense of a brightness, but nevertheless a really good blue. But rather than to say throw this pen away, you know, as long as your tips are pretty good, there's a couple different things you can do. This is the salvia blue, and what I would do is, if you don't want to throw your pens away, I would just re-ink with a different color of blue. Now, I'm guessing, I mean, there's a lot of other brands of inks that you have, you know, that a lot of different manufacturers have for their line of dye-based pads, and you can probably use those as well. Just as long as they're dye-based inks, you don't want to re-ink a dye-based ink marker with a alcohol ink or something like that, of course. But rather than throwing these away, I say why not? You'll probably get some version. Now this pen here was really dry, but what you'll get is by introducing the moisture from the new ink into this pen, it'll probably reinvigorate the dried ink from the previous color, or the original color, and it'll form some version of the two colors mixed together. Now, when I start using this, it's probably going to look all salvia because those two colors probably haven't merged yet, and it's probably hasn't brought the manganese into solution. But anyways, you can have a really good pen going again. And let me see if this will... Sometimes what happens is the first few strokes are one color, and then as I start using this, I can see where the two colors are somewhat merging, but I don't know. That might take a little bit, but anyways, I think you get the idea. Now that being said, you know, like I was saying, you can probably mix and match different color inks with pens. What I would do on something like this, I know it's not the manganese blue anymore, so I'd probably put a little piece of tape on this, or I'd put a little Sharpie marker notation on the side here, maybe with a little dot or something at the end of this pen, and I would know that this ink is not the original color, so I would just make a notation of that, and if I ever want to go use this pen again, or a series of these pens that have, you know, that mark on it, I would probably just test the ink out first before I used it to make sure that that's indeed the color that I wanted. Okay, now again, that being said, one of the things that we used to do before Marvy came out with the matchable pads and the re-inkers for them, is what we did was, if something was running out of ink, or something that was going really dry on us, what we would do is we would just open the caps back up, and we would take this, and this is back in the day, I think, before there were any kind of raised dye-based pads. And what we would do is we would just add in some water into the cartridge. Now, of course, that's really going to change the color. What you would get is you would get a lighter and less intense version of the original color. And again, I would just make some kind of notation of it. And, but like I said, why not, you know? You can have a different version of the color. And I don't know, I tend to use my media until it just doesn't work anymore at all. But let me see, that's really soaked. I'm just soaking up some of this moisture right here. This is just water again, and I'm putting it on the tip right here. But you know, you can get a good version, and again, that's just straight water. But I don't know. This is the number 36 manganese blue, and here it is. This was the original color. You can kind of pick that up. I think it was those marks right there. This is the manganese blue pen that's been re-inked with the salvia blue. And this one right here These marks right here are the ones that are just done using the water. And I don't know, it actually looks pretty bright to me. It more of that ink went into solution, or back into solution, than I thought, and that's a pretty bright blue there. So get a lot more mileage out of your pens and your media. I can imagine you can do this probably with all different types of pens. That, you know, most pens, you know, there's some access point. You know, be it some of them, they don't have a cap back here. Some of them are dual tipped, and you might be able to just remove the tip somehow. Maybe with a pair of pliers at times, and you can drip some water or ink and fluid down there, and it should be ready to go again. So with a pen like this, like I said, I would probably make a notation of it, and I don't know, now it's, so you can see it's getting darker and darker. I don't know, you know, as I say this, you know, if I had some pads too, you know, I happen to have all the re-inking fluids for all these different pads out here now, but let's say, you know, I mean, if you had a pad and a dye-based pad and it started going dry on you, I suppose you can probably even add, you know, a different color re-inking fluid to pads, or even water to them to reinvigorate them a little bit. It's going to change the look of it, of course, you know. But again, you know, you can get a lot more mileage. These Marby pads here are probably, I don't know, some of them are probably over 10 years old, and that pad, the material on them, is basically, looks just like it did the first time I used it, so I say why not use them again? Just in a different value or a different intensity with the use of either additional water, since they are water-based, it is a water-based media, or using a different color of re-inker. Alright? So anyways, just some basic stuff on re-inking, and hope that comes in handy if you have any dry pads or pens. Okay, thanks for watching.